You know what, Brian?
What's that?
I think I'm using different. So I did. I went to the old website that I used to be a member of. I hope this stream works. I used a different place. Anyway, welcome everybody to Trust the Tape. It's good to see you. This is me. And on the other side of your screen is my friend and former NFL scout. He's got a Super Bowl ring. That's Bryan Broaddus.
Hey, Bri.
Hey, Bri.
Jeffrey, how are we doing today, sir?
We're doing great. Combine in the books. Maybe they're going to have to tag Oso while they try to get a deal done. They're negotiating with Micah Parsons, but we can talk about Cowboys stuff later. This is Trust the Tape, by golly. This is Trust the Tape. This is the hot dog or the bun show.
No, this is a hot dog bun. I think it's a hot dog, too.
My hot dog or the bun questions for you today revolve around the NFL Combine. You comfortable with that?
Yeah. Hey, I got a question for you, Jeffrey. You mentioned you use new software. Yeah. I don't see our chatty folks. I don't see our chatty folks in there.
Oh, that's because this is way too behind the curtain. Normally I use Restream. There's also something called StreamYard. Anytime I use either one, if something doesn't work right, I just immediately flip to the other one forever until the next mistake happens on the other one. So today I went to StreamYard instead of Restream, and that's on me.
Okay. No problem. All good.
I can see the chat. So if you want to know if somebody's talking crap to you,
I don't know. I like to try and maybe answer a question or two along the way, but we're good to go, man. We're good.
Well, to the point of one guy in the chat, James, he said, what do you guys think about Dante Thornton as a late round option? Yeah, that's what the Combine does. The Combine, when you show up and you show out, it makes guys like me get you on the list of guys to watch, because I'm not going to get everybody that was at the Combine watched. It's just not going to happen for me. I'll get to at least 150. I'd love to get to 200. We'll see. Yeah. But if you show up and show out at the Combine, guess who gets put on the list? Like, your boy's going to go watch the Virginia Tech running back. Gonna happen. I'm going to go watch that guy whose name is Tesla with too many A's because he toe up the Combine.
Yeah.
Is there anything that can happen at the Combine for you that changes how you have players ranked? And the reason I ask is because for me, especially this year, it sends you back to tape, and then it can happen. And this is the least confident in all the time that I've been doing this. This is the least confident I am in the order of pretty much every freaking position.
Is it just because of just the uncertainty with the not having a bunch of players at the top of the board?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you said, hey, who's going to have the best career out of the wide receivers in this draft?
Sure.
I'm not answering with confidence.
That's unusual for you.
They're all so freaking different. Like, it's all, it's going to be more situation based. And I just don't feel like there is a top prospect. Like, should Matthew Golden be the first wide receiver taken? Now that it turns out that not only was his tape quite good, but that dude showed up while his teammates were talking about breaking records and outran them all, just like he did all season when people talked about his teammates, and he was the number one receiver. And could you see a world where Matthew Golden is the top wide receiver taken, and it's not T-Mac and it's not Luther Burden? Like, I could see any one of 4 or 5 guys being the first wide receiver off the board, and I'm not confident in predicting the future. Maybe I suck at this now, Brian.
I don't lack confidence here. The thing that the Combine has always done for me is that when I watched a player on tape, that's usually my best view of that player. That's usually my best opinion of that player. I'll give you an example. DJ Giddings, the running back from Kansas State.
Yeah, that's a guy I got to go watch now. And plus, everybody Foots likes him and told me I have to go watch him.
No, he's a good player. He ran a much better time than he plays. But what you also have to realize, and I'll give you another example too. Ursere, the offensive tackle from Minnesota, tends to play as a slow-footed guy when you watch him on tape. 331 pounds running what he ran, pretty impressive.
I watched him on the pole drills too, and he did look like a slow-footed guy compared to like Banks and Campbell. And
that's what I'm saying. Don't let yourself get fooled players train for this thing. They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, agents do, of getting their players into these groups, Arizona, Texas, Florida, and they spend a lot of money training to run these drills. There was a time, Jeff, where in the early 90s when I started, that the combine was a very secretive thing on what the drills were. And now that it's on TV, everybody knows what the drills are. Yeah. So there was a time where like Nebraska was the absolute bestest in the 90s. Nebraska figured out what drills you run at the combine. And then they were able to, Boyd Epley, the trainer there, was able to, or the strength coach was able to train his guys. So you had guys at Nebraska that knew how to run the shuttle. They knew how to run, all the drills. I mean, we didn't have the gauntlet drill and things like that, but they knew all the drills. These kids, the ones that are maybe a little bit borderline, what's the one way that they can elevate themselves up a board? Work out really, really well. So just be mindful when you're watching tape. If a back is running and he's getting fetched, but then he goes out and runs 4.43, okay, does he play like a 4.43 guy? When you watch Blue, the running back from Texas, play, exactly, you see speed in the tape. So don't let yourself get fooled. One of the greatest example of a player that was drafted way too high because of the combine was a guy named Mike Mamula out of Boston College. Mike Mamula killed the combine that year. Now, Willie McGinnis, USC, had a great combine one time, played well. But Mike Mamula is one of the best examples of a combine warrior and plays at the level that his tape showed. So that's where you have to be very mindful. Al Davis did it for years. And Maryland had a offensive tackle I think we watched back in the day. He picked like in the top 10, I want to say.
He picked, what was it, Darius Hayward Bay, because he ran.
Picked Hayward Bay. There you go. So you have to be my whole statement here is be careful. If you hadn't seen a guy, it's good to go back and look at him and kind of have an idea that, okay, he tests well. Now make sure that he plays at the level of what you saw of the testing. Like I say, there's hundreds of thousands of dollars that are spent on these players to get ready for that week in Indianapolis.
Can I give you a take that I have about that? By the way, I see Alf in the super chat. We're going to get to you here in a second. I see you, Freak Jesus, Carrie. I see you in the super chat. I am a believer because of what you said. Like, you know what you're going to have to do, and you spend months getting ready to do drills instead of getting ready to be better at football. But Bingo. I also think that it is a reflection.
Oh, no, it clearly
football character guy, because if you are not preparing for this job interview in the way that you should, then I think that is a reflection. So if you did it and you showed up and you destroyed the combine, while it doesn't mean that you play that way on tape, it does mean that at least you are mindful of what you're supposed to be doing right now.
Yeah, there were agents that we used to do, I don't know if they do it anymore, but they have what's called the Wonderlic score, the test that they used to give the players. And the agents figured out to get a copy of the Wonderlic test. There's several of them that you can give. And they had their kids drill on all the tests just so the Wonderlic score would be better. To me, that's playing chess over checkers every time. If you're trying to find a way to better, and that's what we do. We look at these numbers as scouts. We look at these numbers and say, whoa, wow, this and wow, that and all this. I'll give you an example. If you want to take numbers to how a player plays, I watched Taj Brooks, the running back from Texas Tech, yesterday. Yeah, okay, 4.52, shorter guy, big time runs where, 15 yards or more, one of the top in the nation when it came to that. But, you go 4.52, but, you see some things. You see the cuts, the jump cuts, the lateral agility, the multiple cuts within a run, and you're kind of like, cool. And then you see 4.52, and you're like, okay, he plays about like that, maybe a little slower at times. But then you look at his short shuttle, 4.06. There you go. That tells you a little bit more about the player there, and those are the things that you can apply when you're watching tape to the player. Don't just immediately assume that because a player worked out great at the combine with all the jumps and things like that. Make sure that translates to the film. Make sure you're seeing those things.
Alf is watching, an alien.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Much love to you, Jeff.
That show was wild, man. Alf was wild.
That show, didn't he eat some sort of, wasn't he a carnivore? He ate,
Alf was, I think John Lithgow was in it, the actor. I think that's right.
I definitely had a stuffed Alf. Bryan, you were my favorite DallasCowboys.com writer when I was in high school. Always kept always told the truth. I appreciate that about you. Always been a big fan. There's no but. No but.
But your take on my favorite player is wrong.
There's no but.
I appreciate that.
Time.
Thank you. No, usually when you get this used to be from a guy that you and I worked with Gavin Dawson. We called it the compliment sandwich, where he would start off like, he's my guy, but
I love doing that. Yeah. Now I just do it as a bit. I just stare at the camera. I say, listen, remember, straight Ricky Bobby this thing with all due respect. And I mean it. And then he tears something up. Yeah. Freak Jesus, I'm betting on the Cowboys draft. They're going to take a player or move down. If they take a player, then who? Freak Jesus, you know what you're doing. There's no way to answer that. Damn well we have no idea who they're taking. Although I will tell you, the more and further we get into it, the more I think I'm prepared for them to make an incredibly boring pick. Or a pick that I don't love that position that high. Because just so many of the premium ones, I don't feel great about what you would be doing at 12. So go ahead and fire off on Tyler Booker, Kelvin Banks, Ashton Jeanty. Go ahead and get me a guard or a running back.
If the news on Josh Simmons' knee is encouraging as he's saying it is, if I talk to my trainers and my doctors and they say, no, man, this cat will be ready for a pro day in April, I draft him.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
I'd take him at 12. I know it's a patella tendon. I dealt with those a couple of different times in my career. Not an easy thing, but if the doctors tell me that kid will be ready and you watch him work out and you send your both line coaches up to Columbus, work that kid out, and he's there at 12 and he's healthy, I'd absolutely take him. You can have your runner and you can have your receiver and all that stuff. But if you really, the runner will help the team, the receiver will help the team. This offensive tackle would really, really help the team. And I know people are freaking out right now. What about the guy last year? Well, the guy. Don't
do that. Don't do that. The guy last year was always a pick that was like, that's big athletic kind of athletic.
There you go. There you go. Go compete on the other side then.
No. The top of this class has guys that are ready to play NFL football tomorrow.
Yeah.
Simmons.
So to me, if that's the case, I was told this though. This was interesting about Carter. Carter from Penn State. I got this from
Abdul Carter, baby. Can't take him with the top 11 pick. I don't think.
His injury was described. His injury was described at me, and I wanted to know the difference. Let me see if I can find out real quick here what because I asked somebody in the league real quick, Jeff. Pardon me while I do this.
Yeah, it's fine. Go ahead. Oh yeah. You're gonna find out what is in your phone. What is in Brian's phone? Does it say that you got to put a big old screw in this man's foot? Is his foot gonna fall off? Will he have 3 feet when it splinters in half? These are the things we need to know.
Yeah. Okay. His injury was described as a reaction.
Yep.
Right.
Stress reaction. Yeah.
Stress reaction. The reaction is only the beginning, is what I was told. The stress fracture is showing the true lines of a break on the scan.
Okay, so that thing's getting ready to break. You got a foot that's getting ready to go.
Reaction.
All right, sounds like you can't take it. This is our gas mask, baby. This is the Abdul Carter gas mask. His foot could fall off. He's gonna have a club foot.
Reaction.
He's gonna be on a peg leg.
Reaction is only the beginning, is what I was told.
Outstanding. This sounds like how we're going to get Abdul Carter at number 12. We're going to Blue Star Special this thing. We're going to have 2 number 11s. They're both going to wear 11 to confuse the opponent, and it's going to be badass. Let's get it. Love it. See, yeah, Stevie Mack said, look at the people know. Look at that. That's our gas mask.
Gas mask.
That's it. Put a gas mask on the foot. That's it. We're ready to rock now. Jordan's in the super chat. Love listening to you both. You just have genuine draft talk out there. Burden was fantastic everywhere but hand size. Change anything? No, man, this is just a strange draft. Like, I like Luther Burden. He ran plenty fast. He's hell after the catch. Production fell off a cliff from one year to the next, but at the same time, you can't control your offense and your quarterback. So how much am I going to kill you for that? And then McMillen, you didn't run, and I can tell you why you didn't run. But that's okay. You're not a separator, but you are an X, and an X is something that a lot of teams are looking for, and they can't find. You're big, and you are good-footed for a big guy, and you're pretty good after the catch for a big guy. The catch radius is great. I don't think you play up to that size when it comes to some aspects of the game. Whatever. All of them are just some questions. And I'm supposed to be the wide receiver whisperer. Do you know who's going to have the best wide receiver career out of this draft? No effing clue. No effing clue. You know who it could be? Jalen Knoll, who I didn't even love on tape. I was like, oh, Jalen Knoll's fine. Like, he's a nice little shifty slot. And then I watched Restrepo at Miami, Jalen Knoll's at Iowa State, and they're both the slot guys, right? And I'm watching Restrepo, and I'm like, okay, this guy's got more juice as an all-around slot to get down the field, a little thicker build. Then Jalen Knoll shows up, and he tests out of the effing gym. And it's like, oh, okay, that little shifty route runner, maybe he's a everything wide receiver, and maybe you're an idiot. But then again, we don't want to put too much stock into this stuff. But every wide receiver, Jaden Higgins, the guy who I was like, I'd probably rather just take him in the second if you want a big receiver over McMillen. This is another Iowa State receiver, 6'4", ran a 4.4 something, jumped out the gym, looked great athletically on tape. I wouldn't have told you he was that sort of athlete. And so yeah, Brian, here we are. Right, wide receiver whisper, best wide receiver career out of this draft class.
It's Royals from Utah State.
What was his testing like? Because
actually ran pretty well. How about Tez Johnson from Oregon not running very well?
I was never worried about Tez Johnson. He was like, Tez Johnson, there's nothing he could have done that would have moved him for me. He is a third to fourth round player, the end. Yeah. Like, I know what Tez Johnson is.
I'm the same way. I'm the same. I'm the exact same.
You're betting on a guy that is super duper small, and the way that he won at Oregon. And keep in mind, I'm saying this with all due respect. The way
compliment sandwich.
The way he won at Oregon is very hard to replicate in the NFL, because the way that he won at Oregon, Tez Johnson's 155 pounds. He's a tiny man. He ran like a 4.55 or something, and people thought that
Tank Dell.
Yeah, and Tank Dell had a big time rookie year, and then and then got hurt, and but I'll take Tez on the football team. I think he's fun. But what they did at Oregon is, because the hashes are wider in college, whatever side the ball was on, that side of the field is now smaller, and they would put multiple people on the smaller side. They would put one guy way the F out there on the gigantic side, and then Tez. So you have a little quick, hard to deal with guy in more space than you could ever dream of in an NFL football game, and he'd put the guy in a blender. It's harder to make that situation happen in the NFL. So I like Tez, but Tez is you pick him at number 100, and then you see if he can end up being a starting receiver for you. I'm not worried about Tez. I got Tez. See, people were talking about Tez's 10-yard split and his 3-cone. Yes, I knew the player he was. That's who he was. That's why he tested that way. Yeah. That's why he tested that way, because those are the things he had.
Those things he's good at. Yeah.
That's just me bitching. That's just me bitching about this thing and being tough. That's all. How about Membo? How about that Missouri right tackle? That's the one that I keep seeing mocked to the Cowboys. You okay with that at 12? Same. Other people like him more than I do, but whatever.
I think he's a good pass blocker. This commitment to running the football. I mean, they're talking about running the football. If you want to run the football, I wouldn't draft this guy myself. He's a good player, but he's a much better pass blocker than he's a run blocker. I wouldn't take him at 12.
Tyler Booker. We don't have to do a position change. We're just taking a guard to play guard, and he'll help you move people.
Jackson or Booker. Yeah, either one.
This Landon Jackson campaign, Ohio State, Tyler Booker, Alabama. Nesto's in the super chat. Bobby Belt on the radio. We don't trust Bobby Belt. Said per sources, Carter's a pain, and the Penn State staff won't miss him. If he falls, do we still take him? Double gas mask, baby. Listen, our pass rushers probably
Bobby's not. By the way, Bobby's not lying on that.
I don't know. I think Bobby lies a lot. Everything I've ever heard him say is a lie.
Bobby had a good week at the combine. I'm going to say.
What, did he run well? Did he jump well?
No. Bobby had a good week off the field at the combine.
Wait, do you mean partying or like getting information?
No, getting information. Okay. Yeah.
Well, yeah, our current pass rusher probably isn't everybody's favorite on the coaching
staff.
I
remember Bucky Brooks. Remember Bucky Brooks at one time on the draft show just absolutely killed Micah Parsons.
Well, Micah Parsons had some stuff. Like we're removed from it. We don't have to hold things against you forever.
I know.
We had some stuff.
I just remember Bucky going after him. I'm like, God, I probably wouldn't have done it that way, but here we are.
Yeah. We got some stuff. What's this about McMillen can't beat press? I mean, I don't think he's great. I don't think he's great at beating press. I don't think
Watch him 2023 if you can against.
I've seen it. Okay, how long are we going to pump up one game?
I'm just asking against one of the best corners in the league.
Line him up today. Go line up.
That kid tore him up. You can't deny that. You can't deny that.
I like press coverage. If they picked him, that would be fine.
Jeff, stop being mad at the players because
I don't know if T-Mac is the best receiver in this draft or the fifth best receiver. I don't know.
Don't get mad at the players, Jeff. Don't get mad.
That's what we do. We project. When we're mad at ourselves for not having a good feel about something, we lash out at others.
Don't feel bad. Don't get mad. Hey, you just do your work. If you don't like the kid, say you don't like the kid and move on.
You know what I'm tempted to do?
What?
And I mean,
watch him again.
I am tempted to hit delete on every note, on every wide receiver, and every name on my board.
Start over?
And start over.
No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. But if you don't think this kid can separate, go watch him play against the best corner in the draft. Go watch him. It's real simple. It's not that hard, You don't have to be a scout.
Child that is mad that the candy store doesn't have gummy worms. Respectfully.
Yeah, there you go. Respectfully.
Because he said respectfully.
Yeah.
I respect that comment.
He basically told you you're a jackass and then said, but I respect you being a jackass.
He told me I'm a petulant child and I'm kind of a bitch. And he's not wrong right now.
And he's not wrong.
Super chat. Steven told David Moore they want to sign a vet offensive guard. I think they hired these O-line coaches to just develop who they have because they have a lot invested. I hope
Will Hernandez, maybe.
That'd be great. But also, this is me remembering, but I'm remembering right. I'm confident in what I'm about to say.
Will Hernandez?
They said they want to sign a vet offensive tackle like they had Chuma, and then guard. He mentioned both maybe signing and drafting. So I think the idea would be right guard has a better chance to have a draft pick that is fairly early than left tackle does. That's what I think. And so that's why I'm on the
I'd still take Simmons if you gave me a chance, but that's
and just left tackle him.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you have a chance to draft a good left tackle, you don't take a right guard over that. So yeah, if you want to take him, you take him. And you can tell Guyton when you get to camp, you can pick where you want to line up. Go try your best to take that guy's job. They're all open.
Go take Steele's job if you want.
Yeah, go get whoever you want. Is there anybody at the combine that you did thoroughly enjoy? Was there anybody that either made you feel good about what you already felt about him, or is there anybody that made you go, oh, crap, got to go watch him? Landon Jackson was a better athlete than I thought he would be, the Arkansas guy. I did not love his tape, and now I've got to revisit.
No, he, Landon Jackson, though, when you do watch him play, his size is kind of interesting because of how long he is and stuff like that. But to me, like I say, there's a guy that football character and everything about him, he cares. This kid was at LSU at one time. I mean, he left to go and, play for Arkansas from LSU.
Oh, y'all ran him out of town?
We probably did. But he's hot and cold. He's hot. He's a very hot and cold player. And you watch him play and
I watch him just so shut down for extended stretches, and I'm just like, okay, so he doesn't have bend.
He gets tall. And
he doesn't win the hand battle. He's not overpowering. Like I saw all these things
on the ground. On the ground. That's what I'm saying, Jeff. You have to be very, very mindful and very careful of where you're at with these players because they have the ability to. They know that they're deficient. Maybe their tape's deficient. But if they show that they could be athletes, it might bump them up around. Landon Jackson goes from being probably a 4th-round guy to being maybe a 3rd-round guy because of athletic ability. Jerry will take him. He's an Arkansas guy.
I think he's – I mean, this is just based on looking at other people's things, but I think he's going higher than that.
Oh, well,
I ain't going top 50.
Good for them. No,
yeah.
Good for them. If that's where – if you could sit there and watch the tape and you could watch the tape and tell me that he's a top 50 player, good for you.
Go get you some. He's one of the ones I didn't see it with, and you know who else I didn't see it with, and people are not going to like this. I don't see it with Jack Sawyer either.
Jack Sawyer had a good run in the playoffs, though.
For sure.
He had a good run. That's what I'm saying. There's a group, me and Vosh talk about this all the time. There's a group of bendy edges and there's a group of non-bendy edges.
Yeah.
And you got to kind of, you got to make sure that you have the bendy edges right, how you have them stacked, and then the non-bendy dudes who you would like out of that particular group.
Should I make a new column for each one? Because I'm looking at them in bendy edge, Carter, Green, Pierce, kind of, Iziraku, non-bendy edges, Michael Williams.
There you go.
Malau.
Yeah.
Not Stewart. Who knows what the F to do with Stewart?
Yeah.
Birch. I like Birch. I like gigantic guys that look pretty athletic.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Rybo, what's the knock on Golden? I'd be thrilled with him at 12. Seems like the safest wide receiver. He's like everybody else. He's just not perfect. I do like him. I think he's solid. I think he is pretty safe. He's a smaller guy that doesn't necessarily win by separating like smaller guys do, but he does kind of. But he'll make them contested and make the great catches. I don't see the 4.29 on tape. Like it's another guy that I like, but at 12, it's like I just want somebody else to pick the first wide receiver and maybe the second and third, and then I'll tell you which guy I like. I don't want the pressure.
Yeah, like I said, the thing with Golden, he is a dynamic receiver, though. I mean, you could see him playing all the positions, and he can separate. Yeah, and I think the route running and stuff like that, how he sells it and how he's able to break, I think those are the things that you have to really like. I personally have him. If you tell me I have 14 names in the first round, he's probably named 14, 15, 16.
Who is McMillen your top receiver?
Yes.
You happy at 12?
With him?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Nathan's in the super chat. Jeff, Brian, Hellman, and Votch. Dream blunt rotation. I don't know. They might drug test Hellman up there at Fox. He might not be able to get into the blunt rotation. Plus, weed makes me paranoid, so I wouldn't want in, but I'd be happy to microdose some psilocybin with you. You know what I'm saying? You hung over today, Brian? I know you had a bachelor party.
No, it was I did a really nice job of not getting involved with. It's funny because they were all like 22 and 23-year-olds kind of guys, 24-year-olds. Yeah, so I just kind of I brought a bunch of beer,
not just because you were hanging out.
I brought about a couple of $100 worth of beer for the crew, and then I just stepped back into the bushes. I Homer Simpson's into the bushes is what I did.
Attaboy. Greetings from Portugal. Might see you in May there, Mr. Opera Doc.
Very nice.
Cowboys might be motivated to draft Will Johnson at 12 to say we have a 5-year starter at corner on a rookie contract. Malachi Starks combine, not good. Jeff, are you going to make an appearance on the Doing All Right pod with Bryan and Botch? Never been invited.
Please do.
Never been invited. Never.
We don't want your takes on wide receivers cluttering our quality podcast is what we're doing.
That's true. Dro knows I was really impressed by Harrison from Kentucky. Could you guys see us going cornerback in the early rounds? I could. Harrison, another guy that initially didn't love his tape.
I loved his tape. I thought this kid is a perfect nickel. And he doesn't look big on tape, but he measures big.
He's a little skinny thing.
He could play the slot and he could play outside. Watch that. I'm serious. This kid is a really good football player. He is a really good football player. Trust me on that one. Him, and if you watch Noel Williams from.
Oh yeah, I like Noel Williams. My tiny guys, I love my third round guys. My guys who aren't very tall. This is where I have Noel Williams from Cal.
Yeah.
Is it Quincy? Quincy Riley from Louisville.
Yeah.
And Upton Stout from I think it's West.
See, I haven't seen Upton Stout play. I love his name.
He's fun. I love my guys who are 5'10", but they think they're 6'2".
Yeah.
They don't give a crap. My tiny guy round in round 3, I love it.
Yeah. I watched the safety this morning that's a 5'10" guy that he can really cover, but he can't play run defense worth a damn. It's an OU guy, Billy Bowman. Billy Bowman, yeah.
Boomer Sooner. All right, we got to go. Look, we got to go because you got crap to do, and
I got crap to do. Yeah.
And I want a chicken biscuit. So thanks, Brian.
Hey,
Thank you, Jeffrey. Appreciate it. I'll see you on Thursday with more confusing takes on this draft class.
Yeah, what if I did a half hour just to tell you every show that I don't know what I'm talking about and I have no confidence in what I'm doing?
No, this is a hot dog bun. I think it's a hot dog.
Hey, for our audience though, we'll invite you on the We're Doing All Right podcast. We'd love to have you someday.
I'm super busy. We'll see. Remember, you have no idea what these concerts will be cool to everyone. We love you. Be easy.